Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of Real Conversations with Justin Riley. That's me, a show that focuses on real issues with the goal of keeping it real and offering real solutions. Special thanks to our main man in the studio, our producer, Joseph Lozada, for making this happen every week. Today's topic is the truth about agents and pro scouts, where we're going to focus on what really goes on behind the scenes when athletes make the decision to go pro. Now, I know we as fans talk about this amongst ourselves pretty regularly, especially when underclassmen decide to commit and come out early. And today, I feel like we really need to know what happens from a player's perspective. And I have a great one to help us out with that. My guest today is Kennedy Winston, a two-time All-SEC basketball small forward from Alabama, Roll Tide, and he's one of the main leaders of an Alabama squad that went to the Elite Eight. He also dominated all over the seas and was an all-FIBA player. What's going on, brother?
Man, what's going on, Jeff?
Man, just chilling. Glad to have you on here. So you and I have been talking about this topic for quite some time. You know, the NBA draft happened recently, and I felt like that we spoke about it so strongly that we actually need to bring it to the forefront. So, for you as a former player, why is this so important to get this message across?
Because I feel like I was in that position before. I know quite a lot of people watch this show, know with my story, and I think it definitely needs to be brought on the forefront to get a younger guy some education going forward on the process of the draft process. So I'm glad that we able to shed some light on it today, and hopefully we can help somebody down the line.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and get right to it. You know, you left Alabama at the height of your career, two-time All-SEC performer, made an Elite Eight appearance. You know, if you came back that following year, we could have had something real special. But you decided to come out at that point anyway. You know, at that point, what were you being told by scouts and agents that really pushed you to make that decision?
Um, Pretty much that whole year, they had these mock drafts and stuff like that, and I was somewhere mid to late first round, pretty much the whole year. And when me and Coach Goffard got together at the end of the year, and I decided I wanted to, put my name in the draft as an underclassman. He asked, he called, I think at the time it was a guy named Stu Jackson. He used to be the director of Players Association, kind of where Chris Paul is now.
Yeah.
So he's the guy that you call to get, your accurate information on, where you stand at as far as, the draft process. So I heard it with my own ears. He said, hey, he's a mid to late first round pick if he decides to come out, pending, workouts and, all that stuff. So, I decided to make the jump uh, to come out. So the next part after that process is you have to choose a agent that that really has some juice. Unless you LeBron James or a top five pick.
Yeah.
It really don't matter too much who your agent is. But when you not one of those guys, the agent does matter. That is a world inside of a world. That's like a fraternity, what I mean? So
Hmm.
everybody knows everybody owes everybody favors. They have all these relationships with all these teams and GMs and players that they already have on teams. So it's all a favor for a favor. That's when it starts getting very political.
Well, of course, you went undrafted. At that point, what was going through your mind, and what do you know? What did you notice about your agent at that point, where you had a different decision to make?
Well, the guy I decided to go with at the time, he wasn't he wasn't a guy that had any clients before. My
Oh,
whole
wow.
thing was my thing was at that time having lack of education on the process is the age the team don't want the agent no matter who they agent they want you as the player
Yeah.
and I feel like I had done enough in workouts and during the season to you know go first round. I wasn't even thinking about second round or trying to get drafted or something like that because
Right.
like I said I had another year to come back if I knew that was going to be the situation. But I chose a very inexperienced guy on,
Wow.
it's okay to talk about now at that time.
Right.
He was looking out for me and when I was in college, making sure I was straight, and, the deal was, when you get ready to come out, sign with me in the first class. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, whatever. So not knowing, that was the biggest mistake I made of the process. Because I had opportunity to sign with other agents that was more well known. They had players, big time players already. But I let my loyalty get in the way of making a business decision. Because at that point, what I did understand and what a lot of younger players don't understand, it's not fun no more. You're not on scholarship. You're not playing for fun. You're an investment. So
Hmm.
you have to make a business decision. It's not about, you like this guy, you like that guy, or that guy was looking out for my family when I didn't have nothing. Blah. That's going to cost you an end. So you got to go with, for your situation, the best guy business because that one decision can make the world a difference for you in your career. You know, so when I didn't make a good decision, it led me down a path that was way harder. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? It was like when I did get drafted, it was like no way this is happening right now. So now it's a whole different process when you don't get drafted. You know, you got to go to do all these workouts. You got to go to summer league. And it's like everything you did in college wiped away. It's like you're
Right.
not even that player no more. Like they don't even remember that no more. Now you got to come in and you know try to be somebody that you wouldn't have been your whole life. If you've been a school all your life, now once you come in, they'll be the guy to dive on the floor and be the defensive stopper and all that. But beforehand, y'all was the scoring guy. Y'all had no
Yeah.
problem with it then, So because you the last guy on the team, you trying to make a team, So there's only one or two spots left.
Right.
So they got their scores already. They got their playmakers already. So it's a whole different process at that point. So you know, I would tell the younger guys, man, make sure you make a sound decision on your age. It means a lot because that can be the difference in your process going smooth or going
Yeah.
bad. You know what I mean? So,
Well, I'm sure it was a pretty surreal moment. I know that we as Alabama fans were watching the draft and we didn't see your name called. And like you said, man, you're projected first round,
yeah,
and you proved it on the court. Every game. There's no question. You were one of the highest scores in SEC at that time. You were all conference, like I said, back to back years. You were MVP of games in the NCAA tournament. You got the Elite Eight appearance. So what happened, or what they tell you, or try to get you to buy as for the reason for not being selected in the first round or period?
all right. So, well, probably the most thing, I heard a bunch of stories, but thing that kind of made the most sense to me uh, a couple years later was what I couldn't understand. As you watch the draft, you have like Jay Billy's best available player. So,
Mm-hmm.
he pretty accurate. Pretty much how he had him up there. That's pretty much how it's gonna fall. It's a few tweaks in there. So from the 26th pick in the first round throughout the rest of the draft, I was the number one best available player and didn't get drafted. Like that was like mind boggling. You know what I mean? Okay, it's common to slip from first round to second round or whatever.
Yeah,
There's no way you slip all the way out the draft if you
exactly.
first. That don't happen. So like after went through all the after process and all this, it was crazy. I was overseas and a teammate of mine, he's another American. He played at Ohio State. A guy named Terrence Dobbs. He used to be pretty good at Ohio. So I think he was Big 10 or Big 12
Mm-hmm.
player of the year or whatever. So man, he was like, we was talking, we was in the room talking, and he was like, man, he was kind of sharing his experience with me as well. He was like, man, when I went to the combine, I had a back issue, and it kind of that stopped me from getting drafted. It was like it was like they just blacklisted me. And I was like, what that mean? He's like, blacklist mean like, you know, they pretty much just offer you, you know what I mean? Like you damaged goods.
Mm.
So he's like, did you go to the combine? I'm like, nah. I was like, nah, I didn't go. I was like, I was invited, but I didn't go. He's like, bro,
Oh,
that's why you didn't get drafted. He was like,
wow.
I was like, what you mean? He was like, man, you gotta understand, when you go there, he said first you had a knee issue. You had two knee surgeries. So that was the main. It wasn't the issue of can I play or not. That was obvious. It was the health. So he was like, man, it's every team have they team of doctors there. He said you're gonna go to 30 different tents and let
Mm-hmm.
them examine head to toe. He said you got to think these people investing millions of dollars in you, so they want to know everything what's wrong with you. So he was like, when you didn't go, that was a red flag. So if you don't go and if and it makes sense. If I own a company and I reach out to you through email to, hey, I want you to come in and do an interview for
Mm-hmm.
this job, and you never show up or you never send me a resume, how I supposed to hire you? you
Yeah.
know. So when I remember when I went back, I said, man, you know what? I was like, man, when I got invited, my agent told me not to go. He told me to
What?
go to at the yeah. He told me not to go in fear of, when you go to like the combine, you it can raise your stock or drop your stock,
Right.
depending how you play, in the drills and all this stuff. So I wasn't worried about going to play bad. I was telling him, I was like, man, I ain't worried about going to play bad. Anything's gonna help me. That's my type of setting,
Yeah.
these drills, pickups, like a pickup game. Like this my type of setting. I like the main thing. I just want to get the physical to, show them I'm good. He's like, nah, we can just go to Dr. Andrews and get the physical. That's who did my two surgeries at the time. He's like, Dr. Andrews is a well respected doctor, they can call him and get the physical. But you can't tell that's where his lack of experience came in. You can't tell these people how to run their job. They want their doctor to see you. That's who they want to see you. They don't care about no Dr. Andrews or what he say when they put Dr. Andrews ain't putting no money in you. They investing the money in you. So it was like when I didn't do that at the time, cause I remember specifically during the combine times, they been doing all the reports and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Katz, which is one of the top analysts for
Yeah.
ESPN, he wrote an article and said why Kennedy Winston didn't show up for pre-draft camp. He's trying to hide something with his knee. It was like
Oh,
on the front page of ESPN. It was like he trying to hide something.
man.
And it was like from that point on, it was like, man, I started getting calls. Like the day of, you supposed to be getting all kind of calls. You going to get dropped. Nobody called. It was like, and he was like, bro, that's what happened to you. He's like, man, you got blacklisted. He's like, well, you didn't go to. He's like, you was better off going there, take the physical. If you didn't want to play, you could have like faked a twist an ankle or something if you just didn't want to play. He's like, but you had to go to that because you wasn't like a guy that can show up and just take a physical. You know what I mean? So he was like, that's what happened to you. He said, when you didn't do that, they X'd you right on out. And it made sense. It made a lot of sense.
That part makes sense, but what does make sense, how does your agent, the man who is responsible for you potentially getting millions of dollars as an NBA player, look you straight in the eye and say, you don't need to go to the combine? I know this day and age, like with the NFL combine, maybe even the
Mm-hmm.
NBA combine, some players opt out of it. They wait
Mm-hmm.
for the pro days or wait for some
Right, right,
kind of some workouts, and you
right,
can
right.
get away with it in this time, but at that
Right.
time,
Back then,
it's
no, you
no,
couldn't.
you don't do that. It's very critical. So, you
Right.
know, I didn't play basketball, but even I know that that's a big deal. So, how does an agent tell you
See,
that?
he never, like I said, lack of experience. If he never went through that process before, he don't know. He looking at it from a salesman perspective. Like,
What
oh, we don't want to risk nothing. He
you
don't
want?
understand the process. Like, first of all, you have to get invited to this. It's not like you can just
Yeah,
show up. Like, if they invite
right.
you, that means they looking at you as a top player. Can't know anybody just go there. So they invite you, and you basically say, "Nah, I ain't coming." You turn down the invite. Like you said, it's not like football where I can go hold a pro day at my school and I can invite all the scouts here. I did
Yeah.
14 NBA workouts. And all the guys I'm in there with was first round guys. They didn't have me in there with no second round guys or no
Yeah.
guys that was gonna get undrafted. I was know all the guys that I would, because they group you up by position. So I'm in there with Rashard McCants, Julius Hard, so like all the top guys that supposed to been out. Like we all working out together. So they bring you all together and compete against each other. So it was like how you in the workout 14 workouts with these guys, but you don't show up for the combine. And it was
Wow.
like, man, when he did that, and I look back on it, because I was the whole time I was thinking it was something else. I'm like, man, something had to happen, something went wrong. But it was like it was strange because at the end of the draft, you'll have like Dick Vitale come on there and be like, well, this guy shouldn't have came out. He should stayed another year. To do
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
post draft analysis. I wasn't mentioned. It wasn't like they were saying like, well, he shouldn't have came out. He should stay in a year. This stuff. It was like I didn't even put my name in the hat. Like nobody said nothing. It was like you would think I would have like murdered somebody or something. They
Yeah.
got in some
Yeah.
big trouble. Like it was like they didn't even speak on it. Period. So it
Man.
was like, it was man, what was going through my head, right? It was like, and he had no answers. I'm looking at him like, man, what happened? Like, what's
Well,
going on?
I'm sure you didn't have an answer. Shoot.
Yeah, he
Hey, matter of fact, we have somebody in the audience right now. Byron Jones hits the nail right on the head. He says most really good agents are pretty honest, straight shooters. Then you have the other shifty agents who will tell a prospective client anything.
yep.
Good grief. I say
Yep.
Nick Saban Jr.
Dead on.
says so many kids go through this stuff not knowing anything.
Yep. Dead on.
So, with a player like you in this situation, how hard is an agent actually going to work for you to get you on a team?
Now, in that situation, now you really need someone that's strong.
Yeah, yeah,
I was in a double whammy because okay, hey, I didn't get drafted. Then two, I'm with a guy that can't even call a team up and be like, hey, I got Trevor Reeves on the team. He due for a free agent contract. Hey, bring my guy in for summer league. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you owe me a favor. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't
right.
even got that. So,
Woo.
luckily, it was like soon as the draft was over, Memphis Grizzlies called. It was like they had it on like speed dial. Boom, they called right out. Hey, you want to bring him in for summer league? We know he's a first round guy. That slip all the pretty talk or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Soon as you get there, they don't tell you. You got three guys on the team that previously got drafted first round. They gonna play all the minutes. They gonna shoot all the balls.
Yep,
So
yep.
you come there because it's their time to play. That's their league because they didn't
Yeah,
play
you're
during the
right.
regular season. So they got investment. They got millions of dollars in them guys. So you gonna come there, you get what's left over. You know what I mean? So you might come play 5 minutes, while they gonna play 35, 40 minutes. They got to get the first look.
Yeah,
So you
absolutely.
fall into that situation, you just get lost in the shuffle at that point.
So NBA draft, like I said 2 weeks ago. Here's a pretty amazing stat, audience. If you're not paying attention, pay attention to this. The last 3 years, you see, there were the number of underclassmen who declared were 181, 175, and 163. There are only 30 NBA teams. Kennedy, why are these numbers of underclassmen so high?
Because you got I forget the guy who said it, Byron Jones. I would say most most we'll just say the top 10 agencies or whatever. They got most of the top 10 agencies. They got the bulk of the good guys in the NBA. Then you have a couple that they might have a good guy, but it's a bunch of agents, a bunch of runners, it's a bunch of all that stuff.
Yeah,
So you have these runners, they don't get paid unless they bring guys in. So they will, say somebody like if you playing at a big school or whatever, you average, 10 points, you're a freshman. You average 10 points. you had a couple good games, couple 20-point games or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You showing the potential that hey, you can, you're a pro. They'll get to this kid and convince him like, hey, the Spurs really high on you, or the Hawks are really high on you. Maybe you need to put your name in the hat. And you got to think every kid is going to college. Ultimate dream is the NBA. That's
Mm-hmm.
all they want to hear.
Yeah.
So they plant that seed in their head, but they not thinking realistically after that. They just think, man, this guy telling me this agent telling me, man, if I come out, I can get drafted. This team looking at me, that team looking at me, and they take the chance instead of really sitting down or got people. Most kids don't have people around them
All right.
that's gonna give them sound advice on stuff like this. Like, oh, no, pump your brakes, you ain't ready yet. Get you another year in, then we see what's up. Most kids don't have that around them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they just go. These guys slip in. Then when you don't get drafted, they on to the next guy. You know what I mean? Or it don't work out like they said. They ain't losing nothing. You know what I mean? They on to the next guy. You got to find somewhere to pick up the pieces. I see Nick Saban Jr.
Yeah.
Today. I fired him. Wish I would have fired him beforehand.
Man, he probably couldn't even got you a spot on NBA Jam. I mean, that dude.
Yes.
God,
But
man,
at the end of the day,
dude.
man, I can't. At the end of the day, I can't even really blame him because I had to blame myself. Though I had to find peace within myself because I had plenty of opportunity to go. So man, you had agents. I had Tracy McGrady agent, Kobe Bryant agent.
Yeah.
These guys were willing to give him back. He like, man, he's like, whatever he gave you or what you owe him, we cut him a check tomorrow.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I let my loyalty get into the way of it. You know what I mean? I'm like, these
Well,
guys just coming around now. They see, so good for it happen. He was there when nobody was there. I was on that. And that was the wrong thinking.
right. Which leads me to my next question. I asked you this a couple of days ago, but this is something I really want the audience to hear your answer to.
Mm-hmm.
If a player isn't drafted or doesn't make a team, do players
Mm-hmm.
still owe money for services rendered?
Yeah. So I'll just take my situation for example. He was looking out for me like before I actually signed with him, right? So there's almost like, okay, your incentive to sign with me. You know what I mean? The agreement was, hey, I'm gonna take care of you. You come out, you sign with me. Okay. Once I sign, then you have situation. Most guys, especially their first round pick, they'll go get like little lines of credit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They help their family out finance. They want to give them a car, whatever, all this stuff.
Right.
So that line of credit, yeah, technically, that's like almost like a loan to you. So most of the time, you get that up front. Then when you get drafted, you pay that back.
Mm-hmm.
Anything beforehand you sign, that's kind of really just on him. I mean, I seen guys have 4 guys taken care of at one time. So
Wow.
yeah, I done seen all kind of stuff. They get stuff for 4 different guys, but and then when it's time to sign, they don't sign with none of them. So yeah. So yeah, that's been going on since the beginning of the time. Man. They just now, good thing about the NCAA, just now getting smart about like, hey man, we can't stop. All these coaches and stuff that got in trouble behind that stuff. I'm
Yeah.
like, now y'all want to bring this been going on since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was in college, man.
Yeah, you're right on
So yeah,
that.
so the good thing is now they don't open it up. Well, hey man, it's gonna happen. So you know what, legally y'all can do it now. Forget it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And keep in mind, audience, when he's saying that they get lines of credit, he's not talking about a couple of $1,000s. He's talking about
Nah, yeah.
thousands upon thousands of dollars that are put
Yeah.
on these guys.
Yeah, 6 figures. Yeah, you got a guy might be $500,000
Right.
in the hole before they even sign a contract.
And they're basically told, okay, best of luck to you. And not every athlete who decides to come out early, gets the opportunity like you did and going overseas. Of course, you dominate overseas and you were one of the top guys in Europe, but not many athletes have, that work out in their favor. So they're stuck, like you said, owing, millions of dollars. Wow. And those guys don't even bat an eye at it either.
Right. No. Yeah,
So,
it can definitely. Yeah, it can turn They can turn into a lifelong dream to a nightmare to snap
Oh
on your
yeah.
fingers.
My next point, you, Rod Grizzard, and Jared Wallace all came out early.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were all conference and put up, great stats. Now, here's my thing now. Kids are coming out who are not all conference. They're averaging, like you said earlier, like 8 or 9 points a game. They might have that game where they, show a spark of something and score 20 plus.
Mm-hmm.
But, consistently, it's like I said, 8 or 9 points a game, like three rebounds a game. Why are they being told that they're ready for the next level if that's the case?
It's hard, man. We can take, for example, the guy, Kid Primo, that got drafted this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's what he did this year. I hate to say it, but it's gonna do more harm than it is help.
Oh, I agree with that.
Because he's one of those kids. He got extremely lucky, and a team took a chance on him. Because the thing is, 30 teams don't have to like you. You can only get drafted by one team.
Right.
In his situation, the Spurs loved him for they loved him. They didn't, they wasn't big on you did this or that. They looked at him for I guess they're looking at for potential. He's really young. They see something in him, and they took a big investment on him. So, hopefully he gets there and work his tail off and pan out to be the player they think he can be. But the reality of it is a lot of guys and a lot of agents are gonna look at his situation and gonna tell the next kid that may go there and it don't work out like that for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's gonna hurt. It's gonna do more harm than it did hurt.
Yep.
Than it did help. Because if you look at the bulk of the guys that went first round, they, especially in the lottery, we're just saying the lottery, those guys put up some pretty impressive numbers, and they look like, hey, we can come in and help a team right now. So, agents, you got those runners, and those agents gonna use that for the next client. Oh, this guy was a freshman. Look what Primo did. He went 12, and he only did this and did. They looking at potential. It didn't happen, but like I said, he got blessed. You know what I mean? So it's hard.
And that's the thing is these kids are making their decisions based out of emotion. And that's why they need some solid guys behind them who can see beyond the emotions and the possible money and contracts and shoe deals and stuff like that. But if you got somebody who's not really like in your case, really looking out for your best interest, you can get screwed. Yes, let me make this point clear. Guys like Joshua Primo, which I am glad he got the opportunity, are the exception. They're not the rule. And a lot of these kids aren't going to see that. I mean, just how much power do coaches have in situations like this when they're trying to, talk to these kids and advise them? Do they have any effect at all? I mean, I know Nate Oates has a powerful demeanor, a powerful presence, and he's a great coach, but can even he properly advise these guys?
You got, your head coach. You spend the most time with him when you get to college than your own family, because you with him every day. Doesn't mean necessarily you have a great relationship with him, but at the end of the day, like he's the person that the scouts or the NBA team is gonna talk to first, because they know he's spending the most time with you more than anybody.
Yeah.
So his influence is gonna, what he say about you to the team can help, can help or hurt you, depending on what kind of relationship, what kind of person. What they're gonna ask him personally about you, they're gonna ask him as you as a player, they're gonna ask everything they need to know. They're gonna ask that coach first. But when it comes down to it, the coach talking to you personally, like, hey, if I'm finna come out, like I'm gonna give you an example, my example.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Coach Godfrey had a pretty decent relationship. We never really had no problems or nothing like that. But when it was time to have that NBA talk, we pulled him in the office, and he was saying, hey, Kennedy, if you came back one more year for your senior year, we gonna be this, we gonna be that. You can keep improving, blah blah blah. But when your mind made up, it's made up.
Yeah.
It don't matter what, no matter what nobody say. Like, My
Right.
mind was made when I heard the guy, the Stu Jackson, say, "Oh, he the first rounder." That was all I needed to hear,
Yeah, that's it.
and everything else was in one ear and out the other ear. You know what I mean? So I think these kids 17, 18, 19, 20. You know what I mean? So, but what they need to understand is, and the most important thing is, you got one shot at this. Ain't no
Mhm.
do-overs. Ain't no try it again tomorrow, next week. You got one shot to get drafted. So you got to put your best foot down. You got to make the best sound decisions. Because after that, like, it don't matter what you did. You could have averaged 30 points in college, 10
Mhm.
rebounds. After that night, it's a whole clean slate now. It's a whole nother slate. So it can be a easier a easier road, or it can be a tough road. But at the end of the day, the decision is that kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This generation of athletes, as you know, man, they're already being treated like pros.
Oh
Press
yeah.
conferences and maybe even early as middle school. They're on
Yep.
national televised games. Some of them are having TV shows. Where they're documenting everything they do every week. You know,
Mhm.
you get the idea. How
Yeah.
does that hurt their perception of reality, and how do these agents, feed off of that?
Man, it's bad, man, and it's now we're in the social media era. Like that
Hmm.
wasn't social media was just. I think when I left college, it was first Facebook just had came out, but now you had guys like Zion Williamson had 40 million followers at
Yeah,
Duke.
yeah,
He had more followers than LeBron James at Duke. That's
yeah.
insane. He had touched the NBA floor. So I mean, what you going to come to tell him? like, like, man, this man got more files than movie stars.
Yeah, you're right.
What you got? What you tell him? So it's like they see all this, like you said, they getting this hype from like sixth grade, fifth grade. They doing rankings in fifth grade. Like is man, it's hard, man. It's now it's even tougher. Like back then we didn't have all that. Like I
Uh,
mean, looking back, wish we that like it depends. You know what I mean? It can help or hurt you, but man, it's now it's you get that hype, man. You get that built up in your head, and man, you can go up or you can go down real fast.
man, and everybody's about being Instagram and Twitter famous these days.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking through social media daily, just to promote my shows and things like
Hmm.
that. And I'm seeing, random athletes, tweeting out or posting on Instagram. I'm holding my press conference on Thursday, going to make my decision. This isn't national news, but people are
Right,
allowing that to happen. Back when we were coming out of high school, brother, we were lucky to have a little corner in the county
right,
paper, and
right,
we were in our
exactly,
library, our school library, signing an agreement.
right, exactly. It's crazy, man. They get on live, they go right on. They guess what? It's gonna be depending on what kind of followers they got. They have 20, 30,000 people watching it
Oh,
on live.
absolutely. It's
Man,
unreal. And
yeah,
here's another thing, of course, it happened recently. And as soon as I heard that this news revealed, I was like, okay, it is already the beginning of the end before, but now it's really going to make things even more difficult. Now the G League is making it available to kids to come straight out of high school to go there instead of fulfilling that 1 year requirement of college.
yep, yep.
Yeah, it frustrates me. I mean, what are you teaching these kids? And I mean, from your perspective, how bad does this G League availability hurt these guys?
Yeah, it hurt. It hurt them. It hurt them more from what they don't understand is I think the guy what's the guy name that went second? Jalen. They went to the Rockets. I can't think his last name. He
Yeah.
did that. Great talent, unbelievable talent. But he's a kid. He's 18. Like they not telling on the other side of this. You gotta when you get there, you grown man now. Like nobody holding
Hmm.
your hand,
Yeah.
nobody taking you out to eat. You're not eating with a team. You're not doing you on your own. So like
Ton
you
of free
grow up, you got
time.
to grow right. You got to grow up really fast, like really fast. When you go to college, even if you go for 1 year, it teach you some structure. You know what I mean?
Right.
It teach you when you come from high school. That's the number one thing I found I had to revamped my mind real fast. Like, it's structured. Hey, you gotta get up and go to class. You gotta go work out. You gotta go to practice. You gotta go to study hall. You're accountable for, so you're responsible for something. When you a pro, like, you go to practice, that's it. You go to practice, go to games, you on your own out there. Ain't nobody calling you, making sure you got to be there on time and all that. Like, nah, you don't be on time. We gonna find you, take money out you. So from a maturity level, it's setting them back.
Yep.
They thinking it's a great thing because you know these kids, maybe they not can't pass the ACT test and all that, so they can't go to college and stuff like that. I mean, I get it from that standpoint,
Yeah.
but man, like, you putting guys that could have potentially been better, they can go to a lot of guys even before, not way before now, that was high draft picks. They went to the NBA and couldn't get it mentally. Like,
Yeah, you're right.
it just fell apart. You know what I mean?
And
So
you just touched on a very big part of it that I was actually going to ask you about. From the mental and physical developmental perspective, an 18-year-old is not ready for, like you said, grown men. It's a whole different level when you talk about the mental aspect and the physical development. Can you honestly say that Kennedy Winston at 18 could have gone up against men like Shaq and Kobe and Karl Malone and guys like that?
no way.
Even from a mental perspective, could you have actually done that at 18?
No way. No way. They just look at talent. Yeah, I had NBA talent at 18, but it's more to it than talent. Like I said, these guys got families. These guys, this how they put food on the table. They not, you go into the camp, it's a competitive nature you have to have. Like, this guy ain't finna laugh with you out there in the
No,
locker room. Like, you could have went in practice and just had a field. They just killed him all day in practice. He gonna feel some kind of way in the locker room.
absolutely.
We ain't dapping each other up and like you do in high school. He feeling like you a threat to him.
That's it. Is that all these kids see is the glamour side of it, the money and the stuff. But the thing is, now it's a business. It's not school. It's not college. This is business, man. And everybody is out for their spot. And if they have to knock you out of the way to do it, they're going to do it. But these
right on you.
And 18-year-olds from a mental aspect can't handle the cutthroat side of that.
Right.
But no one's telling them this.
Nah. Just get you they just get you in there, and if we can make some money, cool. If not, I think it's what, 450 or 60 spots on the NBA 12, 13 to the team.
Mm-hmm.
It's millions of players. It's millions of basketball players. It's a million guys put their name in the draft. It's only 30 spots to get. I mean, 60 spots. First, third, and first, third, and it's only 60 spots every year out of millions of guys to go to get drafted. Then you got another only 450 in the whole NBA.
Yeah. Nick Saban Jr. Says that I try to tell my 10-year-old son, don't buy into these kids you see on YouTube because they still have a long way to go. They might develop into what they're hyped up to be, or they may not. Example is Jamie Newman. I guess he's the guy who transferred to Georgia from Wake Forest, and within 3 weeks after transferring, the season's about to start. He decides to opt out of the season for the NFL draft, and he goes undrafted, and he got cut.
You're gonna hear more. That's what they. It's like it's like winning the lottery, man. It's like everybody, they only post the person that won it.
Yeah.
That person won 300 million. But what about all the millions of people that played that didn't win? You're gonna hear a success story here and there. But there's gonna be so many of them that you don't hear. Like that kid that he just talking about, like, now he's sitting there, and especially football, it's a lot harder. Like, because you don't really have a secondary outlet. Like, okay, you don't make the NBA in basketball, you got 20 countries you can go to and possibly play basketball overseas. You don't really have the outlet in football.
You're right.
So once you don't make it in football, man, it's really time to get a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he had more chances to better himself. You know what I mean? He could have just went to college, kept going to college, kept, building some years. But you do that because basically for him to make that kind of decision, somebody had to advise him. He doesn't even come up with that on his own. You know what I'm saying? But the agents and run, they don't tell these stories right here, only the good stories.
Oh, absolutely, man. And that's what they feed kids to try to get, to get them to sign with them.
Right.
All right. I got to bring this up. Of course, it's all over the media, and that's name, image, likeness. And you got kids now who are opting out of their senior years of high school for this and enrolling early so they can go ahead and get that money. And now it's in college, and they just kind of threw it out there. It's like they're being pressured so much to get something in place. Yeah, I'm all in favor of players getting paid. I am totally for it, just because of what you guys do for the university and the millions of dollars y'all bring into the schools and don't see a lick of it. And so I'm all for it. However, they had no plan in place. All they did was just roll it out, and they're like, okay, best of luck. There is no cap in place. There is no way to monitor it or regulate it. Kids have the opportunity, like Bryce Young, and then there's a gymnast at LSU making millions of dollars. And so from your perspective, what does this do in situations like this for these kids and agents?
I'm going to tell you exactly what it's going to do. It's going to destroy so many kids, man. Listen, I'm just telling you from my perspective. When I was in college, if somebody gave me $1 million, man, there's no way I'm taking nothing in school serious. I'm pulling up in a Lamborghini to class. I'm doing all kind of crazy, because you don't know, if you don't come from a family of money,
right,
educates you on this, hey, you got money, this how you handle money, this what you're supposed to do. Most people don't come from money that's playing sports, you know what I mean, that's in college. So you just give somebody that kind of money, man, they ain't gonna do the wrong thing. That's just what it is.
The kids, they're going to.
Yeah, they're gonna do the wrong thing. How you get somebody that's used to having a couple $100, that's the most money they have, like they feel like they got money when they got a couple hundred, maybe even $1,000. You get them $1 million. Come on, what do you think they're gonna do with it?
Man, when I was in Alabama, all I had were those dining dollars and Bama cash, and that stuff was gone in 2 weeks.
Exactly. You go buy all your friends. Hey, let's go up here to in a restaurant in Tuscaloosa.
Exactly. Dang. I mean, dude, I lived in Burke Hall, where we had Buffalo Wild Wings at the bottom of our dorm. Man, I was getting wings every night at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and you better believe that Bama cash was gone.
Right. It takes away the. If I'm full before I even get to the pros, I ain't hungry. What is to fight for? What's the I'm full. Like, if I experience that money, I'm having fun. I ain't even fuck. I'm gonna start working. I ain't gonna put my mind on that craft no more. I'm trying to. It's hard to get somewhere financially that you never been.
Yep.
And it not be about that no more. Like let's say your top guys, your Kobe Bryant, your LeBron James, these guys could have, after the first contract, been set for life. But they get these $100 million, $200 million contracts, and it don't even bother them. They still want to be the best. That's a different breed.
Absolutely.
Guys get that big contract, man. It's over with. I'm good. I got my money.
Exactly. Yeah. Not everybody's like Kobe, who basically,
you gotta
he would have played the game for free. He was just that driven.
Exactly.
To be the best at his craft. But also too, in Kobe's case, like you said, a lot of these kids don't have financial advisors or people with any sense behind them. A lot of times they come from backgrounds where they got family members who are constantly, trying to get something out of them. So they don't have anybody who's properly advising them. But Kobe took his money, he starts investing it in companies and restaurants and a lot of different things, and he had people around him that were really teaching them what you're supposed to do. These kids, majority of them are going to have that. Now, I will say for a fact, Nick Saban, before all this happened, had invested in a program for his players to teach them about life after football, how to manage money, how to be successful at jobs, everything that you need to know off the field. So he really invested in that, but not many programs will do that.
Right. That's great. That's a good thing to hear. Yeah, like I said, he might be one of a few of hundreds. You know what I mean? Like,
but you bring up a very good point, though. It's going to create complacency. There's no
exactly what
question.
it's gonna do.
And coaches like Nick Saban and Nate Oates, they've been able to manage chaos and distractions and complacency up until this point. And I've asked this to former NFL players: can even those guys still coach when this stuff is going on?
Right. It's crazy. Just imagine this. Like, I come into high school. I'm a top recruit. I'm a big time guy. I got millions of followers. Some company just gave me a $2 million likeness deal. I come into practice, and a third assistant say something to me that I don't like. Man, I make more money than you. What you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, the respect level finna go out the window. Like, you can't tell me nothing to go out the window. All that finna is.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just being realistic. I mean, I think any of us would do that.
What's gonna happen? Like, you're gonna come with a whole level of arrogance. Like, when you got that kind of money, you never had it before. Like,
Nick Saban Jr. Nick Saban Jr. said it just right. I would have went.
Yeah, no. Man, come on. How can you not? Like, is like I said, they threw this out there. They didn't have no structure, no plan. They were just pressure from the kids need to get paid, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But they still really not solving the problem. This
You're
really
right.
only apply to the kids that's popular, that have a
life. Right. Exactly.
What about the other 12 guys on the team that don't got the Instagram follow? They still don't get nothing.
It's going to cause diversity is what's going to do.
Well, yeah, exactly. Now what's going to happen? The kids on the team going to start getting jealous of the kids that's getting the money. It's going to cause so much confusion, man. Instead of them saying, you know what? All right, the top guys, you can get your likeness or whatever, but everybody on the team get $2,000 a month. You know what I mean? Just some
something manageable.
Yeah. You get that for me. You on the team, you on scholarship, you get this a part of our program, whatever. But your top guys, you can go seek out endorsement deals or whatever. But what's gonna happen is my teammate, he's sitting over there driving a Range Rover to practice every day. I don't even have a car. And and if he carry himself like that, soon I get an opportunity to follow him real hard and practice and hurt him or something, I'm gonna do it. Like, that's what's gonna happen. Like,
and they're crazy to assume that everybody's just gonna be okay and everybody's is gonna be, like in the NFL and the NBA, you understand it's a tiered money structure. The best players are gonna get paid the biggest contracts on the team. You understand that, but this isn't the pros. You're dealing with kids in college that don't see it that way. They're like you said, they're looking at their teammate. Hey man, well, why can't I get mine? How come you're riding great and I got a bike? If that.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Nick,
they ain't think none of that through.
On the flip side, just flip this NIL thing around. Nick Saban Jr. has a question. Do you think it will keep kids in school longer and prevent some of this from happening to kids?
Nope. For the simple fact, that's what they was trying to do. That was the objective. Well, if they get paid, they'll just start coming to school and staying longer. They didn't change. The dude that went the second pick in the draft, he didn't even go to college. He went straight to the G League.
Yeah.
That's not going to keep him. Because if the thing is, if they able to get that kind of money before they even play a game, they're saying they one of the top guys. So they already got the NBA, NFL talking their ear.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying, I ain't got to do. I'm gonna come do a little something, and I'm going to get more millions. Like, I'm gonna stay here 4 years just because I got a little endorsement deal or something. Like, no, I mean, if I got that means I'm considered one of the NBA player right now.
Right.
So I'm just able to get me a little advanced on it. That's all that really means right now.
And of course, in football, maybe you could see that, but like you said, in basketball, ain't no way. There is no way.
Football, you got to stay 3 years, so that's different. But
Right.
basketball, they ain't having basketball at all.
Yeah, you're right. So from your let me rephrase this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're speaking to these athletes right now, what is your message to them when dealing with the agents and listening to what you're being told and all the hype, all that? What's your advice to them right now?
My advice would be to them is think. I always think. It's very hard to do, but think worst case scenario. Is if it goes well, that's what I mean, that's good. That it went how where you figured it went. But think worst case scenario. If I'm a guy that's considered going out to the draft, but I'm not solidified and and stuff like that, and you're gonna know, if you're a solidified lottery pick, like think, man, what if I don't? What happens if I don't? Is I'm really ready to go do this overseas grind, or I'm willing to go work out for 15 NBA teams for free just
Mm-hmm.
to just to have them look at me? Like, it's a lot of intangibles to it. And then, as far as choosing an agent, it's so much information, right in front of us, with these phones, laptops, all this stuff. Like, if an agent come up and talk to you, ask questions. Like, ask information. All right, who told you this? Who told you I was a first round pick? Like, who you work for? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Google the agency. If they got some solid players, like, these guys, do your homework. You just can't take guys' words for face value. They lying. They
Yeah,
are
you're
lying.
right.
They ain't coming up telling you the truth. They are lying. So, like, now you got everything at your disposal. So you really shouldn't make too many bad decisions if you're not lazy and do your homework. Just
Yeah,
ask questions. Like,
absolutely.
what I mean, yeah, like just do your homework. If you're thinking about making just a life changing decision, if that's what you're thinking about making, you got to do your homework.
And like you said, man, you only get really one shot, and there is no
One
going
shot,
back.
one shot. No do overs. No, I can come back next. Nope. When you put your name in that hat,
That's it.
it better be worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're coming up on the end of our show. Before we go, I got some news and notes. For those of y'all who regularly tune in to the Bama Standard on Tuesday nights, we will be back. And this week we're going to have the 1995 Alabama defense. Yes, all of the defense, featuring players like Dwayne Rudd, Kevin Jackson, and a whole lot of folks you knew growing up. Tune in to the 3rd and 3 on Thursdays on the CTS, and then the Stingray Scoop on Fridays, where Stingray wraps up the week in sports and current events. And for those of y'all who follow the CTS interview room on our various channels, we are now on TikTok. So follow us there for our latest clips. You can find us at CTS Interview Room. Definitely can't end this show without sending out a message for the family and friends of Florida State legendary coach Bobby Bowden. He passed away, and truly, truly godly man, a man that really made a difference in so many players' lives for several decades. He definitely will be missed, but his impact is going to live on. We will offer up our prayers and our thoughts to his family at this time. On a good note, our boy, Bo Scarborough, if you didn't know, just signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. So we had him on our show a couple of weeks ago. And this past weekend, he got the call from John Gruden, and he is back. And what's insane is, if you didn't know this, the entire backfield are Alabama players, former Alabama players. So that's what's up. Well, Kennedy, I really appreciate you coming on. I feel like, this is a topic we probably could have talked 2 or 3 hours about. So it's kind of hard to, condense it.
Right.
But I really appreciate you talking on this, and it's something we definitely need to revisit. If you would, man, tell us what's up next for you, and then also for the Alabama fans, if they want to follow you on social media, how do they find you?
On Facebook is my name, Kennedy Winston. Instagram, it is KWIN3, KWIN3, but you can also just type the name in. Twitter's KWIN3. I ain't on Twitter that much, but I'm mainly on Instagram and Facebook. So they can find me, message me, comment, whatever, I respond to everybody.
When we gonna see you on TikTok?
I got to get into it. I ain't got into it. I watch it a lot, but I got to figure out how to work that.
Hey man, I think you got something to offer for that platform. I think you should look into it.
Okay, I will. I know it definitely will.
But yeah, brother, I thank you again. It's always good to have a conversation with you, and I like that we can do it on this platform. Well, man, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and for everybody who tuned in, definitely thank you guys for being a part of our audience. And for those of you who watch the replay, definitely take the time to listen to what this man said, especially for you youngsters out there.
Right.
All right, man. Have a great night.
Thank you.